Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam and you are watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today I want to tell you about the very best movies Netflix is adding in December 2018. So I'm releasing this video on Friday, and it just so happens that Friday, next Friday, and Friday after next are all getting added to Netflix on December 1st. Now, Friday is an absolute classic. I've always loved that movie. A lot of people love that movie. I'm not going to belabor that. If you want to watch just a classic comedy movie, watch Friday. Don't watch it with any kids, per most of my recommendations. If ever my recommendations are kid-friendly, I'll let you know. Friday is certainly not the case. Next Friday, to me, is very different. It's a sillier comedy. It's a little less endearing, a little less of a classic movie, but still very, very funny. And I gotta be honest, Friday After Next is my white whale. I have never seen this movie. I have tried to see it multiple times. It is a Christmas movie. I will be watching it possibly this weekend, if not, definitely sometime during Christmas. I've tried to watch this movie for years, and Blockbuster wouldn't have it. It wouldn't be available to stream. I could not get my hands on a copy of this movie, but luckily, Netflix has pulled through this Christmas, giving me exactly what I've always wanted. Friday After Next. Hopefully it's decent. I don't know. It's probably not going to be that good. Another one that's decent is Reindeer Games with Ben Affleck. Not a huge fan of Ben Affleck. I love him as a director. Don't love him that much as an actor, with very, very few exceptions. But Reindeer Games is actually kind of a cool action movie revolving around Christmas. It's a great time of year to watch it. In fact, it'd be weird to watch it outside of December. They're in Santa costumes. It's snowing like crazy. Charlize Theron, a very, very young Charlize Theron, is in it. Gary Sinise is a bad guy in it. Just a kind of a cool movie. It's not great, but I've watched it and rewatched it a couple of times, and I've liked it every time. It's good enough for its genre. If you haven't seen it, it's a good little gem to watch during the holidays. A great movie you can watch any time of the year is Shaun of the Dead. Hot Fuzz, which is sort of the sequel to Shaun of the Dead with just different characters, has been on Netflix for a really long time, but they're just adding Shaun of the Dead. I love everything about this movie. There's so many cool little things in it. It is just a cool zombie movie that happens to be funny, but there's all sorts of little fun things that Edgar Wright, the director, put in. Little nuggets and things that you just get every time you watch it. I don't have time to go into it now, but rewatch it, and I guarantee you will find multiple things throughout that you did not notice the first time through. Terminator Salvation gets added. I like this one enough, but I wanted to like it so bad. It's such a disappointment of a movie to me because it looks so fucking cool. I love Christian Bale. He's great in it. The way this movie opens is super sick. It's PG-13 though, and then the story gets kind of convoluted and a little messy and just kind of doesn't happen. However, it looks great. It's cool. It's got some Anton Yelchin's in it. I love the cast on this one. It just missed the mark for me by that much, which makes it so disappointing. However, it's still a pretty cool movie. So if you passed on this one because it got negative reviews, like the way I'm basically bashing it now, definitely watch it. Like it is worth at least one watch. One that's worth endless watches to me is The Big Lebowski. One of my favorite movies. And I gotta be honest, I did not love this movie the first time I saw it. In fact, I think most people didn't love it the first time they saw it because mass audiences really did not take to this movie when it was released. It took a long time for it to become such a cult classic, but there's so many good scenes in it, and there's so much that just does it's so odd and different. It just doesn't hit your brain properly the first time you see it. You really have to watch it a couple of times and then go and have it like marinate. And it's not that it's too smart. It's just so offbeat that after it hits you a couple of times and you're like, oh, that's why it's funny. Like the way John Goodman's character just beats up on Donnie, played by Steve Buscemi, is hilarious. And you can totally miss it on a first viewing. If you never saw this and you're a fan of my recommendations, please watch it. Let me know what you think. If you watched it and just don't think you really liked it or don't really remember it, I would encourage you to revisit it over the holidays. So that was everything that got added on December 1st. Before going into what comes out the rest of the month, if you like content like this, definitely click that subscribe button and be sure to click the little bell icon as well so you get notified when I put new videos out just like this one. But on December 2nd, another weird one, The Lobster. So let me explain this one. So some people get confused. They think everything I recommend is something they should watch. That's not the case. What I try to do here is explain why you should watch it. Maybe relate it to some other movies. So this is from the same director who did The Killing of a Sacred Deer from this past year or a year ago. Stars Colin Farrell, both movies do. The Killing of a Sacred Deer was very, very dark. I liked it a lot. The Lobster is dark as well, but not nearly as dark. It's a little just kind of weirder and quirky. It's this like alternate future where if you've not coupled up and began to procreate, you get sent to this facility, and it just looks like a expensive retreat or like rehab facility. And you're given a certain period of time, like 90 days or something, to find a partner. Otherwise, you're turned into an animal. And Colin Farrell's character says that he would like to be turned into a lobster if he does not couple up. Very, very interesting perspectives on dating in the modern world, pressures, societal pressures to get married and have kids. What happens to people that don't do that is interesting. It's an oddball of a movie. I really liked it. As long as you know that going into it and you're not expecting like something straightforward, you may like it. If you can't handle weird, don't even bother with The Lobster. On December 4th, District 9 comes out. This is one of my favorite sci-fi movies from this century. It was such a surprise when it came out, and I still love so many things about it. The super low budget and what Neil Blomkamp was able to pull off is incredible. Charlton Copley's performance is great. And you get this crazy like midnight sci-fi monster movie too with his hand transforming. And there's societal commentary and all kinds of crazy cool stuff, including some just wild action and bodies blowing up and lasers. And it's got so many cool elements, and it's strung together in a very tight, very clean narrative. Love the movie. Cannot recommend it enough. If you haven't seen it, put it at the top of your watch list this month. On December 7th, Mowgli comes out. I've talked about it recently. I may be reviewing it. It looks very, very much like the live-action Disney The Jungle Book. I'm not really sure why we needed another one of these so soon. Hopefully it's different enough, and hopefully it's good and interesting. But that is a Netflix original coming out on December 7th. So look for more details on that after its release. I'll be sharing my thoughts on that. Another Netflix original not to release yet is Roma. It comes out on the 14th. This one is getting so much buzz in the festival circuit. It's being hailed as one of the best movies of the year. It's directed by the same guy who did Gravity and Children of Men. It's all in black and white. The cinematography looks amazing. It's about a housekeeper in Mexico, I believe Mexico City, who basically takes care of the children, and she's almost like their mother. So it's a very personal story for Alfonso Cuarón, the director. And it just looks beautiful, and everything I've heard about this one says it is one of the best movies of the year. It's going to be an art film. I believe it's foreign language, but as a cinephile myself, I certainly will be watching this one. And then on the 21st, another really great-looking Netflix original, Bird Box. This was a popular book. The movie stars Sandra Bullock. It takes place in the future. There is some sort of an invasion that is wiping out humanity, and Sandra Bullock's character has to go on this journey with these children to try to escape, and they have to be blindfolded the entire time. The trailer looks epic. It's giving me flashbacks to this past year's A Quiet Place, except with sight instead of sound, in sort of its own cool way. It looks really good. I'll be looking forward to watching this one the week before Christmas. And then Avengers Infinity War drops on Christmas Day. That is Netflix's gift to humanity, I guess. If you're a fan of the Marvel series, odds are you've already seen it. If you just sort of watch them passively and you passed on this one, I'll be honest, it is worth watching. I think it's actually pretty good. However, it's not really a standalone movie. It's connected to the others in so many ways. This has become so episodic. This really is the next episode in the series, which is fine. But if you don't really watch hardly any of these, you're going to be confused as hell with Avengers Infinity War. However, if you have watched them and you've sort of waited for them to drop on streaming, don't rent it before Christmas. And then on the 30th, my last pick for this list is the Autopsy of Jane Doe. I wanted to recommend this one during Halloween, but it wasn't available anywhere. I've talked about it on the channel before. I really, really like this one. Emil Hirsch stars in it, Brian Cox. They run a morgue, like a mom and pop morgue. A body is brought in. They're there all alone, and really, really weird stuff starts to happen throughout the evening as they're performing this autopsy. Really cool little standalone horror flick that just has its own story, its own flavor. It didn't feel like something I'd seen before, so I enjoyed the shit out of it. Great way to end the month with Netflix on what I consider to be a pretty killer list of things. There are more. If you become a patron, I give you the full list of everything coming out in December on the post there, but you have to be a patron to do it. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. If you want to support the show, that's a great way to do it. You can also check out the merch shop. Get a t-shirt, a Flick Connection t-shirt. There is a link to that in the description below. But I'll keep making videos like this one as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking this one out, and you will see me on the next one.